Welcome to Voices from the Abyss. Every week, we descend into another story where the water is dark, the silence is heavy, and not everything waiting beneath the surface has stayed there. So turn the lights down, get on your flippers, and if you enjoy stories that make you afraid to get into the bathtub, don't forget to follow. And if there's a fear, a legend, or a deep-sea nightmare you'd like to hear brought to life, leave it in the comments. You never know. Your idea might be the next one to rise from the depths. Now, take a deep breath. We're going under. Sailors spend most of their life out at sea, and they all collect stories. Stories about storms, about things seen beneath the waves, and about the ones who never came home. Most of them probably happened to someone else. But every now and then, one sounds strangely familiar. This is the great fish. As I wake up, I immediately know there is something wrong. I reach out with both hands, and I don't hit anything. That's not right. I've worked on boats for 22 years, and over time, I've learned the size of every space on a vessel. The wheelhouse, the hold, the bunk, and this was none of those. I get up on my knees, and my hands hit a wall that gives when I push into it. Warm and wet, ridged in long ropey lines. I know that texture. I've seen it 100 times off the rail of tourist vessels, and my stomach drops. I start yelling desperately, swinging my arms, slapping the walls, kicking at whatever's under me. An instinctive reaction stuck between fight and screaming to be noticed. I go 2 steps one way and hit a wall. 3 steps another and hit a wall. I'm shouting for decon, for anybody. My own voice coming back at me flat and close, like I'm yelling into a mattress. And somewhere under my hands and feet, I feel something move. The whole floor is moving. In that moment, a smell invades my nostrils. A smell that gets all the way into my throat. Brine and low tide rot. I can taste it. And amidst my senses being assaulted and my body being pumped with adrenaline, a voice that sounds like my Nana's whispers a line from a Sunday school story she used to read for me and my cousins. And the Lord had prepared a great fish. I laugh. It comes out ugly and desperate. I'm doing a Jonah, I think. And for one stupid second, it's almost funny. The idea that I went over the rail in a squall and came up in the one story I know from cover to cover because it was Nana's favorite. Then the floor rolls again, steeper this time, and my stomach drops even deeper. It's the same feeling I get when the boat drops off of a swell. We're not floating anymore. We're diving. My mind spirals, preparing for the dangers ahead, running out of air, stomach acid eating through my skin. The clicks and calls loud enough to rattle a wheelhouse window. At this range, it could cave my skull in outright. But out of all the things I imagine would be a problem in this moment, I didn't once consider pressure. I feel my ears pop. It's the same fullness I get when free diving for a snagged potline. Except we are much deeper than 15 feet. The pressure keeps increasing, a fire behind both eardrums. I work my jaw and swallow, but it doesn't clear. My sinuses next. A pressure right behind the bridge of my nose, as if somebody's got a thumb pressed there and is leaning into it. My knees start aching. I figure I'm just balled up wrong. So I stretch my legs out along the rigid floor, roll my shoulders, and try to find a position that takes the ache out of my joints. Nothing helps. It just spreads. Into my hips, my elbows, the same deep ache you get in your knuckles before a bad storm rolls in. Except it's in every joint, all at once, and it isn't easing off. It's building. I press a hand flat against the wall to steady myself, and the wall pushes back harder, as if to refuse any assistance, any comforting notion that could give me hope. And in that moment, I pray that something would take me out faster. The acid, the call, one quick squeeze of this mouth or esophagus, or whatever biological hell I'm in. Unfortunately, my prayers would go unanswered. As the pressure increases, I taste it. Copper. The taste of blood. I run my tongue along my gums, and they give under it. Soft, like an overripe fruit. There's a warm, thick fluid running down my face. I touch my nose, and it comes away wet. And this isn't seawater. I spit, turn my head, and spit it out onto the floor of this thing, because I'll be damned if this beast doesn't get a taste of what it's doing to me. I keep spitting over and over, but the blood doesn't slow down. My eyes start to burn deep in the sockets, and I don't need a mirror to know what's happening. I've seen a diver come up too fast off a wreck once, hauled him into the boat myself, and his eyes looked like a couple of skinned tomatoes for a week after. I press the heels of my hands against my eyes, but then stop, because it feels like any more pressure on my eyes would cause them to explode. Around me, the whole space keeps drawing in tighter, in a slow and horrible embrace. It's not the whale doing it to me on purpose. I understand that much. It's the water outside doing it to the both of us. It's squeezing this thing's whole body the same way it's squeezing mine. Except my biology isn't designed to endure it. My ribs are compressing. A squeeze all the way around my chest, like a strap cinched notch by notch. Every breath costs me a little more than the last one did. I feel my fingers start to curl in on themselves, one knuckle folding after another, slowly bending, and then suddenly snapping, one joint at a time. I try to resist and force them straight, but the pain that comes back is white and hot, straight up both arms. An involuntary sound comes out of my mouth, a sound I've never made before, something between a shout and a cough coated in blood. 3 days, the Sunday school story says. Unhelpful. 3 days and 3 nights. I want to ask it how a man's supposed to survive 3 days of this. I don't know how deep we've gone. I only pray that my body gives up. The whale turning around and ascending isn't even a thought at this point. The air's gone thick and sour, used up and missing oxygen. I catch myself breathing faster to pull less out of each one, which strikes me as a hell of a joke. The mercy of suffocation would only arrive after the worst of the pain. I try to hold on to a thought. My mother's name. I only get halfway. Ellie. My mom's name is Ellen. And my dad's? Dad says the net's coming up wrong. Wrong way. We need to head east. No. Somebody left the hold open. Hold the who's 3 days. Over days after 3. And it comes apart in my hands like a wet paper net. Strands disintegrating in every direction. Still breaking. Thoughts scared. That wasn't a sentence. What did I just say? Everything starts to go quiet. I keep losing hold of myself and coming back, like surfacing and going back under, except I couldn't tell you which one is which anymore. Weight everywhere. I can hardly feel my ribs pierce my lungs. My limbs no longer respond to commands. Something gives deep inside me. I try one more time to make a sound. What escapes my lips is mostly blood. Spit me out, I think. Or try to think. Or used to know how to think. Just spit me out. I'll go to Nineveh. I'll go. 3 days later, 60 miles east, the Joppa hauls a net so heavy the winch groans with it. And for a minute, the whole crew's grinning. figuring they've hit a school worth bragging about at the dock. They haven't. Tangled in the catch is what's left of a man, bloated and soft at the joints. The fish and whatever else swims that deep have already taken their turns nibbling at the remains, so there's not much left for anyone to look at. Nothing to hint at a cause of death. The deckhand who finds him is young enough that this is his first one, and he expects to be sick over the rail. But what comes instead is just a tired kind of sorrow. Looking down at what's left of the man's hands, curled shut so tight, it takes a marlin spike and 2 crewmen to pry them open. Nothing inside. No note. No grip on anything. Just fingers locked around empty water. No one on the Joppa has any reason to think of Jonah. There's no whale in it for them. No belly. No fish at all beyond the ordinary kind filling out their net. Just a man who ended up in the water somewhere and didn't come back up until the sea decided to give him back. A body with no story to tell. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live. Thank you for listening to Voices from the Abyss. If tonight's story stayed with you, click the follow button to make sure you never miss what surfaces next. Until next time, sleep well, and remember, not every abyss is underwater. Good night.